Hello everybody, this is Dan or Crazy Bad Cuber. In today's video, I'm going to be doing something that I haven't done in a long time, which is a tutorial. This is going to be a cross tutorial for people who are looking to get faster at the cross. Now, if you're still at the beginning method of the cross, where you put all four cross pieces on top and then move them down with the colors, this is definitely for you. Or maybe you've already moved into a little bit more advanced cross stuff, but you just want to maybe see some examples and see why people do things the way they do. And hopefully it'll help you realize some of the things yourself to get faster, because there's no real answer to getting faster at the cross besides just having an acknowledgement of your color scheme and why things are the way they are. And you will get your own intuition with this, but the best way to do it is to watch it first and then learn from that. Now, I used to do this on my channel quite a lot back in the day when I started, but that's because that's when I started cubing and I was learning these techniques. And every time I'd learn something, I was really excited and I would want to show it to everybody. And then as I got more and more advanced, I started to lose interest in the beginning stuff. And then I knew that I wasn't quite as advanced enough to continue on showing people how to get faster, because there's better people out there making videos on how to be faster. But the cubing community is expanding at an ever-growing rate, and there's a lot of new cubers out there, and hopefully some of you guys can learn from this. And if not, well, then hopefully you guys can write something in the comments for me to read and learn from you. Basically, you want to create the cross on the bottom. I do a white cross, so I know my color scheme, right? Green, orange, blue, red. And I know it from looking from red where it is. I've been doing it long enough that I know the color scheme really, really well. So there's two ways to do it. One is you can put them with the color, like match an edge with the color, put it down in place, and then put another one down, and then you can kind of match them. So when you're done the cross, you don't have to move the bottom at all. The better way to do it, though, is to know your color scheme really well, so you don't have to rely on your centerpieces to know where you're going to be, because obviously blue doesn't go under orange. But it does go next to orange on this face. So that means that red must come here, and red is right here. And that means green has to be on the right of red, because I know my color scheme, but you can see that these are not lined up. So after you do your cross, you can then line the bottom layer. And there's two ways to do it. You can either flick the bottom over like this, or you can move the top two layers over like that. And when you get better at this and you start to look ahead into your F2L pairs with your cross, you'll determine which is better to do in order to set up your first F2L. So all I can really do is give you examples and let you know why I'm doing what I'm doing. All right, so I see blue, red, green, and orange. And when I'm doing my cross, not all the time, but sometimes I know that I'm trying to, find my color scheme. And I know that, it goes blue, red, green, and orange from the bottom around. So the first one I spot, if it's in the bottom layer, a lot of the time I go blue, and then I look for where red is. That way I know where it's in relation to the other one that's already in. And then from there, I look at green, and then from there, I look at orange, and then I try to figure out which ones to do first. So in this case, I know that orange is opposite of red, so these are already opposite each other. Now, I could also say that, turn this one here and say blue is opposite of green, but then these two aren't in place because they would have to be switched over. So what I would do in this case is I would work around orange and in red. And I know that, on the left of red, which can come down, is blue. And I don't want that one there. So in this case, I would move blue here. Then I would put red down, and I know that orange is opposite of red. So I would put that down. Now from here, a lot of people, what I used to do with this orange, because I know it goes opposite of blue, is I would put it opposite and then do this and then fix that. But I don't want to do that, because it's so much easier to just move it where it needs to be and then fix the bottom and then move it down. So that's one example. Okay, so this one here is a little bit more complicated, but it's actually not too bad. So I see blue's already in. And when I see blue in, I'm looking for red, then green, then orange, and I spot them all. And I know that when I put blue down, it's going to move whatever's on top of it next to this. And since this orange and white here is already oriented for that, I can do this. But the problem with that is when I move it down, this red now is difficult to get back here. So what I would do in this case is I would insert red into the back first, because I've already determined that I'm not going to have to do any bottom face moves to finish my cross, because I'm starting with blue, which is the down, and it's already matched up. So in this case, what I would do is I would throw red into the back first, and I would do that by doing a move like this. So I'm bringing up the center to match with it, and then bring it down, and then bring this back. Okay, so now from here, I want this one to be over top of this one. So I'm going to move it over, and then I'm going to move it down. So these are in place, and then this green is just over and down. And look at that, we already have an F2L pair, which I can just throw in the back. So a scramble like this, it kind of looks a little intimidating at first, and I used to be intimidated by a lot of scrambles when it comes to the cross, because before you realize how things move around from your own intuition, you get a little distracted by things. Like, for instance, this red piece here, it can come down, because this green one is upside down and it's opposite where it needs to be. So this is like one of the worst pieces that you could have. The blue is opposite next to it though. So you might think, okay, we're gonna do the cross starting on orange, or starting on red, and that means because the red piece is on the orange center, that every piece now needs to be on its opposite color. So like green, but again, red is here, green is on the right, but this is flipped incorrectly, and that is a very hard thing to change. So we don't really want to start that way. So how would we do this one? Well, basically what I would do is, since these two right here, the blue and the green, are opposite each other, I would move those so they can be turned down together. And I know that orange goes on the left of blue and the right of green, so the orange belongs here. And I know that when I turn the orange, when I go like this and then I turn it down, the red is going to align. So the first thing I want to do is turn down the green, then the blue, then the orange, and then move everything into alignment, and then put the red down. Okay, so this here is a case that, if you guys have anything better, if there's anybody better than me out there watching this, or even people who aren't better than me that just know how to deal with this better, please tell me. So basically we have two that are already matched up with the white, but they're wrong. So this red needs to go here. This one here needs to go here. So the way that I would usually do this is I would just keep in mind where this blue one is. And I have a bad habit of this where I do the cross, or some of it, with it on top. So this is how I would typically do this one, and I know it's not super effective, but I am showing you examples on how I would do it. So I would move the red over top, and then replace the red with the proper one, U2, and bring this back. Now I would flip the cube over, and I know that the blue has to be on the opposite of red, or the left of red, but it's not in place for that, and I don't want to move my cube like this any more than I've already done turning it over. So I would again use my ring finger down here, and I would move it over and then put it down and then move it back. And that's how I would do a cross like that. Alright, so this one here, basically I think what I would do, because orange is already here, so I'm going to work off of orange. And I know it needs to be on the right of green, which is here. And then red is here, which is already placed. So I want to maybe put these two in relation to each other, and then put them where they're supposed to be, because then this one here is already where it's supposed to be. And that'll be 3. And then the blue I can bring down with this one. And I'll show you how this one works. So I know that the orange goes on the right of green. So I move it to the right. I'd move this with my thumb, and then I would put them where they need to be over here, and then the red one I would move down, bring the blue one over top of it before I finish bringing it down, because when I do finish bringing it down, now it'll move that one in, and we've got our cross. All right, so this is a little bit of a difficult one as well, because we've already got two pieces here, and one is orange, one is green, so either the green has to go here, or the orange has to come here. And the blue is already here, yeah. So, however, this is a little bit of a trick that I'm going to show you guys, where this is, just because one is already in, doesn't mean it has to be there. Because if I turn this one over, because the red is over top of the orange, right? So I know that it's over top of the opposite. So if I was to work off of red and finish the cross like that, I know that every cross is going to be over an opposite. And this is not. It's over the same. So if I turn this over, now this is over the opposite and this is over the opposite, right? So if I can get these two to be over their opposites, or under, however you want to look at it, then I can do that maneuver, and then it would just be a D2 to fix my cross. So in this case, what I would do is, when I pick the cube up, I want to hide this piece, and then move this one over its opposite. And I would do that with my ring finger behind the cube. So I would pick it up, I would move it, I would bring it back, I would cube rotate, and then I would do that move. And that will make my cross like that, and then from there I can do a U2, or I can do this, depending on what I might want to do if I'm looking ahead into my first F2L pair, which I'm usually not. Okay, so this one's not too bad. So I see that I've already got one piece in, and it's over the opposite. So I've got the orange in, and the red is already over its opposite. It's just not down. So I'm probably going to start with that. So what I would do in this case is, I know that once I do that, those are there, and then I have to work the other pieces around it. And since this piece is already one move from being down, I would move everything, because I know that orange goes to the right of green, and then put that down. So in this case here, I would move the orange down, or sorry, the red down, so it's opposite of orange, then use my finger here to move it over so it's on the right of green, and then put the green down. And then from here, I would put the blue over here, because I know it goes on the right of orange, put that down, and then with my finger again, I would align the bottom, or do this again, depending on what you would want. Okay, so sometimes you come up with a case like this, which is actually really nice. So I call this the double opposite case, all right? So you've got two that are facing each other, and they're opposites, blue and green. And then you've got this one here, which is orange, and this orange can come in, and then they're facing each other, and they're opposites. That's why I call it a double opposite. And it doesn't happen all that often, but when it does, it's actually really easy to do. So from here, there's two ways to do it, really. I mean, you could move them like this, so the green is here, and then that's just a really bad way to do it, though. What you would want to do is make them opposites. In this case, every case is going to be different. You'd have to just really sit and think about this. But you can't move this one over top of this one, because it kicks this green out, which is why you got to turn them first, and then put that over top. So you've got opposites here, and then when you come down with those two, these two are now ready to come down. So in a case like this, I find the finger tricks for this are usually similar for each of them. Go over, come down, and then it's sort of like a move with your middle finger up like this, and then both of these fingers together. I know that's really complicated, but go ahead and watch it a few times if you would like, and see if you can figure that out a little bit more. And because we're all on opposites, I know it's a D2 in order for our cross to be finished. So in this one here, I think that I do it a little inefficiently, but I see that I've got a green and I've got an orange, and they're already over the opposites, and then these two here are not. But basically what I would do in this case is, because these are already down, I would put that down, this down, I would put this red over the orange, and then as I bring it down halfway, move this one over and down. Now this move is very common, I find, in F2L, or sorry, in the cross, where you've got one there and then one with the bottom color sticking out the side. To reduce movements, to be able to use it by turning it halfway first, you know, like turn it halfway, then put something there and turn the rest down. And then I just got a D2 for the finish of my cross. I'm sorry if I'm going too quick for some of you. There is a rewind button. Also, you can change the speed on YouTube by clicking something down here somewhere or there. I don't know where it is, but you can change the speed. I forget what it's like to be an absolute beginner, so I apologize if I'm going too quick. But let's do a couple of more and then see if you guys like them. All right, so this one here is fairly easy as well because we've got the opposites here, and this one can come down in one move. And I know that orange is opposite of red. So before I do that, I want to move the orange opposite of red, then put this one down. And in a case like this, I know that the green and blue are opposite each other, but they're opposite of where they need to be in relation to these, because I know it goes blue is on the left of red, but it's green that's here. So in a case like this, it's actually more beneficial to solve what you have with their centers and then move these into place and down and down. Okay, so this will be the last one. And so I can see that orange is already down. And red can go opposite like that, but I don't think I want to do that. I don't think I want to do that. I think what I want to do, I know that orange is left of blue, and that'll put red here, which will be underneath the green. So when I turn the green, I have options. I can move it either way. So we might take that to our advantage. So I'm definitely going to do that. I'm going to move orange left of blue, and then I'm going to put blue down. And then from here, I know that green is opposite of blue, so this is already where it needs to go. And red goes opposite of orange. So as I turn it, I do a half turn, it puts it in place for me, and then I go down, and then I finish this one here. And now I can just realign my cross just like that. And if you get good enough at this, you can solve the cross in a second, or 2 seconds, or 3 seconds. It's better than 10 seconds that you're doing. And I'm going to tell you guys, just from my own experience, there's no real algorithms that you can use on the cross. It's all intuition. It's practice. That's really all it is. It's trying to figure out, if I move this, it'll move that. And when I move that, it'll move this. And you got to do all this in your inspection. You have 15 seconds to do it. It's a lot of time to do it. You can notice in my solves, when I actually do my solves and I time on camera, the 15-second timer is on, but I'm usually starting somewhere around 12, maybe 10, something like that. So I'm really only inspecting for 3 to 5 seconds, sometimes longer, which is stupid, because if I figured out my cross in 3 to 5 seconds and I have 15 seconds, I should be looking at where my first F2L pair is going to be. But I don't, because I find that when I do that, I lose track of where my cross is. So I don't practice it enough. I get discouraged by it, and don't be discouraged by it. Don't be me. I hope you guys got anything out of this video. Let me know. Give me some feedback. It's been a long time since I've made a little bit of a tutorial. Give me some feedback. Let me know if this has helped you in any way, or if I could have done anything better. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you on my next video.